Hi, Leela Bryan here, and I have a new book out called Quit Smoking, Got Side Effects, and this is a video of irritability and fluid retention, and it's from chapter 3. Now, irritability and fluid retention, anger, lasts sometimes 3 or 4 months. And one of the main causes of irritability is fluid retention. What people say about it: no patch, no gum, no e-cigarette, nothing. 3 weeks in, I feel like I'm going to die. I have a combination of all the withdrawal symptoms on the list. I have good days and bad. The irritability and anger only lasted a week. Olivia. I hate the crying. I cried for days. Then I cried some more because I am so angry at myself for crying. It feels like genuine grief, and I burst into tears, and I don't stop. Lisa. Okay, so what's the treatment? What you can do, you don't need to go to the emergency room, you don't need to go to the doctor, you don't need to get pills or drugs. What you want to do is drink lots and lots and lots of water. Now, this might sound really strange because if you have fluid retention, why would you want to have more water? Well, here's what happens in your body. Your body, it's sort of like you had a little sponge in a teacup, and let's just say that we poured a half a cup of water in the sponge that's in the teacup. And so it only, fills up half of the water, and the sponge sucks it up and retains the water. So the sponge soaks it up, so it says, ooh, we didn't get enough water. However, if you drank a cup and a half of water or 2 cups of water, the sponge would retain it, suck it up, and then all of a sudden it would say, oh, we have way too much water, we need to release it. And that's when it happens that's what a diuretic does. It just regulates your water. Now, one of the roles for nicotine in the body is it's a pretty good diuretic, which means it regulates your water balance. And so when you don't have the water balance, or that nicotine regulating the water balance, then what happens is you tend to retain water. And when you retain water, it makes your little cells uncomfortable, and then you become cranky. For women, this is kind of like PMS. And for men, if obviously you've never had PMS or premenstrual syndrome, then this is as close as you'll ever come to PMS, because you retain fluid, and then it just becomes uncomfortable and you become cranky. So what's the treatment for the physical aspects of being able to not retain water? Well, there are natural diuretics in the body, and you might want to take a few notes on this. There's parsley. When I first heard parsley, I thought, how could you get enough parsley to really make a difference? But what you can do is cut up lots of parsley and make it chopped up really fine, put a little bit of oil and garlic in it, and then have something like a pesto sauce. And parsley is really good for you, and it's really good at regulating your water balance. Horseradish, and depending on if you like it or not, I'm not wild about it, but I sometimes eat it. Cantaloupe is another good diuretic, natural diuretic. Watermelon, Brussels sprouts, and then lemon. So if you had lemon water every day, that would be a really good um, treat, and also it's a good diuretic. What else is a treatment? And these are all natural treatments. I don't really recommend things that are, uh, store-bought. You can go and do that, but most of my students are have addictive personalities. I don't want you to get stuck on any other thing that's addictive. So what you really want to do is avoid foods that have salt on them, and especially foods that you can see the salt on them or taste the salt, like pickles and potato chips and pretzels. And the reason is because salt is like the sponge in the body, and it will suck up and hold water. And so you want to really, during the time that you've quit, probably for a month or two, it's probably better not even to salt your food, and just let it go with the salt. And also avoid processed foods, especially things like canned soups and anything that's in a box, because the reason the way they preserve them is they put a lot of salt in them. And so salt just sucks up the water in your body and makes you retain water and makes you feel cranky. And you don't want to feel cranky. And then there's about 6 that are the main foods to avoid just during this time. You don't need to avoid them for the rest of your life. Bread and rolls, cold cuts, sandwiches, pizza, canned soup, and chicken. Chicken was kind of surprising to me, but in my research, that's what came up. And it depends on really how you cook it too. So, what is a natural progesterone cream that helps water retention and weight control and irritability? This is a natural, and it's good for men or women. A lot of times I recommend Progest from Amarita, and the reason is because most of the time it's recommended for women in menopause. However, if you're a man listening to this, you're not going to grow boobs, and it's nothing. Men and women have lowered progesterone when they are a smoker. And so what this does is, the reason I learned all about this is I used to work for a company that did bone density testing. And this was one of the things that we recommended to men and women that had low bone density. And the chief cause of the thing that causes low bone density or osteoporosis in people is having been a smoker. So it leaches out, the smoking leaches out the calcium, because smoking causes your body to be acid, and then what calcium does, it'll chip out little pieces of calcium to buffer that acid and make it alkaline. So what natural progesterone does over a period of time is it starts to slowly replace that lost calcium. Now, what I started to do is I made a kick butt recovery kit, and one of the 6 things that I recommend is Progest, and that is what Progest is, but it's in little packets, and that helps with anxiety and irritability. Now, I'll tell you in another video all about the kick butt recovery kit, but it has things for quit smoking, side effects reliefs for gas, heartburn, sleep, anxiety, fatigue, sore mouth, and gums. And so Progest is one of those things that I recommend. And I've been teaching this for so long that I know what things people need, and you probably don't need that much of each one. And so Progest comes, I think they have like 40 tubes in a box, and actually you can see the box to the far right in the back. You don't need that much. So what I did is I bought all of these little remedies, and I put them together in a little kit so that you could have them to get over your side effects, but you wouldn't have to buy all these little boxes, and because you might not need all of them, because the symptoms are temporary and they will go away. And also, some of these things take like a month or a month and a half, and you have to order them from, one's from Canada and one's from the United States, and you have to wait, and you would have to, it would cost you a lot, plus you have to wait. And what you do is you need it now to be able to help you with those symptoms of recovery. So I put them all together in a little box or a little kit so that you could get them all at one time, and you can get them pretty quickly. So I recommend them in my book, Quit Smoking Gut Side Effects, and you can find more videos at Kick Butt Recovery. So I have about 15 remedies that I recommend and 131 tips to overcome discomfort and pain of quitting smoking. See you in the next video.